After being reborn, the first thing the woman did was shut down the system's time travel channel, so her ancient husband could never return to the modern world. Then she went straight to her husband's enemy at court and handed over all the disaster relief supplies she had prepared. She did it for one reason: revenge on her treacherous husband. In her past life, the woman had opened the channel between past and present with the system, and secretly pledged herself to the crown prince. Using modern technology, she helped him rise step by step to the throne, but on the very day he became emperor, he crowned another woman as empress. Furious, she confronted him on the spot, only to hear the cruel truth: he had never loved her. He had only used her power to seize the throne. Enraged by his shamelessness, she commanded the system to take back every modern item. This drove the prince into a rage, and he shot her dead with an arrow. When she opened her eyes again, she was back in the modern world. Still in shock, the crown prince suddenly stepped through the portal. That was when she realized she had been reborn half a year before his coronation. Before she could recover, the prince shamelessly asked her to procure more modern supplies. She wanted to tear him apart, but instead she smiled and agreed, then quietly followed him back to his residence. As expected, she found him with the same scheming woman who had stolen her position as empress in the last life. But she also uncovered a massive secret: the supplies he demanded were not for the border war at all, but for his rebellion. The general was set to march against rebels tomorrow, leaving the capital vulnerable. The perfect chance for him to seize the throne. On the way back, she was deeply worried. For years the prince had used her supplies to build his reputation. If she exposed him too abruptly, no one would believe her. Just then, a wild horse charged straight at her. Before disaster struck, a man rushed out and pulled her to safety. When she looked up, she realized her savior was the great general, the very one about to march to the front. Memories flooded back. In her past life, when she first arrived in the ancient world, she had saved this general's life with modern medicine. He never forgot her, and in the end, he died protecting her from the crown prince's arrow. As she remembered, a deputy rushed over with urgent news. The military camp was in chaos. The supplies for tomorrow's march had been burned. The crown prince was the obvious culprit, but those supplies had cost the general his entire fortune, all for the sake of the soldiers at the front. And now the prince had treated their lives as pawns in his power struggle. The general turned grim, telling the crown prince, if he fell in battle, the prince would lose his mother's family support and never rival the crown prince again. While they despaired, the woman stepped forward and revealed the truth about the prince's rebellion. It sounded incredible, but the general chose to believe her and vowed to stay behind to protect the emperor. The next day, the crown prince launched his coup, first slaughtering the city guards, then bribing eunuchs to poison the emperor's tea. He thought victory was certain, but what he didn't know was that the supplies he needed never arrived. Instead, the woman had left him a different kind of gift. Just as the emperor lifted his cup, the general burst in and shouted for him to stop. The crown prince's heart sank. Without the general gone, his rebellion was doomed. Then the general declared loud and clear: the crown prince was plotting treason.